اقرأ كتاب الله ترق جنانه وتنل عظيم الأجر والغفران.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Rabbana zidna ilma. Allahumma faqihna fid din. This is the second video of the introduction, which is on the topic of i'rab, that is the grammatical states. And if you haven't watched the first video yet, I advise that you do so, and you can find the link in the description box below. And if you have already watched it, then alhamdulillah, let's go ahead. We shall now proceed to see the changes that occur in an ism when it enters the different states. Now, when it comes to ism, by default, they are in the state of rafa, that is, they have the sign of dhamma or dhammatain. But when it comes to that particular ism in a sentence, according to the context, it can enter either the state of nasab or the state of jar, because the word that comes before or after it can have an effect on that word. For an example, previously we saw this phrase fi baitillahi. So initially it was baitullahi, and because of the presence of the harf jar before it, fi, baitu had transformed into the state of jar and become baitillahi. This is basically what we are going to look at now, but we will be dividing the ism to mudhakkar and muannas and looking at the changes it goes through in different quantities, that is wahid, tasniya and jam. For this purpose, we shall take the word Muslim and see the changes it goes through, inshallah. So as mentioned before, each noun could either be mudhakkar or muannas. So if muslimun is mudhakkar, then the muannas form of muslimun is muslimatun. That is, it gets a ta marbuta. Now let's look at the word muslimun, that is the muzakkar gender, in the state of rafa. So we see in the wahid muzakkar state of muslimun, one who submits, a Muslim, the sign on the last letter is a dhammatain. So it could either be a dhammatain or it could be a dhamma. Now dhammatain indicates that it is in the state of nakira, that is indefinite, whereas if this word were to become in the state of ma'rifa, if it is to become definite by the addition of an alif lam, then we remove one of the dhamma of the dhammatain and make it al-muslimu. Because a word, an ism, cannot be in the state of definiteness and indefiniteness at the same time. So you can either have a Muslim or you can have the Muslim. You can never have something like the Muslim. It's grammatically incorrect. Likewise, in Arabic also, you can either have Muslimun, a Muslim, or al-Muslimu, the Muslim. For the purpose of this example, we shall look at the words in the state of nakira, that is without the presence of alif lam, in indefinite state. So because of this, the muslimun will have a dhammatain. So the wahid mudhakkar is muslimun, and the mudhakkar tasniya form is muslimani. So we see that it gets the case ending of ani, muslimun, muslimani. And the jam mudhakkar is muslimuna, that is, we add the ending waw noon and make it muslimuna. So we have muslimun, muslimani, muslimuna. Now let's take another example. Mu'minun, mu'minun, mu'minani, mu'minuna. Another example. Muhsinun, muhsinani, muhsinuna. Now this is when it comes to the state of rafa. Now what happens in the state of nasab? So in the rafa, it had the dhammatain. So we know that when it comes to nasab, the words get a fatha. So muslimun will become musliman. And when it comes to musliman, there is another point that we have to know, that is, whenever there is a fathatain, generally it's a principle that the fathatain always is followed by an alif. So when you write musliman, you just don't write the fathatain, but you add an additional alif. This is like a principle that we always follow. So musliman. And when it comes to tasniya, it gets the ending of ya noon. Previous letter gets a fatha and you add the ending of ya noon. So it will become musliman, muslimaini. So we see the last letter of the word is getting a fatha and then you add the ya noon. So muslimaini. And when it comes to the state of nasab, the jam muzakkar, it becomes muslimina. That is, the last letter of the word gets a kasra and then you add the ending of ya noon. So when it comes to tasniya, the last letter of the word gets a fatha and then ya noon. And when it comes to jam, the last letter gets a kasra and ya noon. Therefore, it will become musliman, muslimaini, muslimina, mu'minan, mu'minaini, mu'minina, muhsinan, muhsinaini, muhsinina. If you were to put the word Muslim in the state of jar, can you recall what is the sign, what is the haraka that the words in the jar state get? It is kasra. So we will put muslimin. The letter, the word will get a kasratain. Muslimin. Now this is the only thing that we need to know. And when it comes to the state of muzakkar tasniya and muzakkar jam, it will be the same as that of when it was in the state of nasab. So it will again be muslimaini and muslimina. So the only difference is in the state of wahid, where in wahid nasab it will become musliman and in wahid jar it will become muslimin. And when it comes to tasniya and jam for nasab and jar, it will be the same, that is muslimaini for tasniya and muslimina for jam. So likewise for jar also it will be mu'minin, mu'minaini, mu'minina, muhsinin, muhsinaini, muhsinina, and so on. So that is when it comes to the rafa, nasab and jar state of mudhakkar, wahid, tasniya and jam. So it will be mu'minun, mu'minani, mu'minuna, mu'minan, mu'minaini, mu'minina, mu'minin, mu'minaini, mu'minina. Now we shall look at the changes that occur in rafa' nasab jar state for wahid, tasniya and jam for a muannas, for a female. So it is the same concept. So the muslimun, when it becomes muannas, it will become muslimatun in the state of rafa. And when it comes to the tasniya form of rafa, it will get the endings of tani. So muslimatun will become muslimatani. Again the ending of ani, except that the ta marbuta will become an open ta and it will get a fatha. So muslimatun will become muslimatani. And when it comes to jam rafa, it will become atun. So muslimatun. So muslimatun, muslimatani, muslimatun. And when it comes to the state of nasab, muslimatun will become muslimatan. And when it comes to tasniya, it will become muslimataini. The ta marbuta will again become an open ta and will get a fatha. And then you add the ending of ya noon. Muslimatan will become muslimataini. And when it comes to the state of nasab jam of muannas, it will become muslimatin. So the last letter will get a fatha. And when it comes to rafa, it was muslimatun. So here it will become muslimatin. Remember, although it is in the state of nasab, we don't put muslimatan. Rather, it will become muslimatin. It will get a kasratain. And when it comes to jar, just like nasab, when it comes to the state of jam, it will become muslimatin. And when it comes to tasniya, also it will become muslimataini. But only when it comes to the quantity of wahid, instead of mu'minatan, it will become mu'minatin. So if you were to look at the word mu'minatun in the state of rafa, nasab and jar for mu'annas, then it will become mu'minatun, mu'minatani, mu'minatun, mu'minatan, mu'minataini, mu'minatin, mu'minatin, mu'minataini, mu'minatin. So I'll read it again. It will be mu'minatun, mu'minatani, mu'minatun, mu'minatan, mu'minataini, mu'minatin, and mu'minatin, mu'minataini, and mu'minatin. Alhamdulillah, with this we come to the conclusion of the table. So we shall look at some examples to reinforce this idea into our mind, inshallah. Allah says in the Quran, الَّذِينَ يَنقُضُونَ عَهْدَ اللَّهِ مِنْ بَعْدِ مِيثَاقِهِ. عهد Allah, promise of Allah. Ahd is the object that is linked to Allah. So the promise is that of Allah. So we see that Allah is the possessor, He is the owner, whereas Ahd is the object or the thing that is possessed. Therefore, Ahd is the mudaf and Allah is the mudaf ilay. And we have learned that Allah, being the mudaf ilay, always is in the state of jar. Therefore, He kept the kasra. Whereas Ahd is in the state of nasab. And why is it in the state of nasab? Because in this particular sentence, it is the object. Because this ayah says, الَّذِينَ يَنقُضُونَ عَهْدَ. That is, they break the covenant, they break the promise. So يَنقُضُونَ, they break. So the subject or the person who is doing the action is they, and they are breaking what? On what is the action of breaking being done? On the promise. Therefore, ahd is the nasab, and therefore it is in the state of mansub and it gets a fatha. So let's look at another example. هو الذي خلق لكم ما في الأرض جميعا. So we see here, fi is the harf jar and al-ard is the earth, and al-ardu, I said all the ism by default is in a state of rafa. So al-ardu has become al-ardi because of the presence of harf jar. So we say fil ardi jami'a. And the continuation of this ayah, ثم استوى إلى السماء. إلى again is the harf jar, therefore as-sama'i and not as-sama'u. Now look at this example. أولئك هم الخاسرون. So we see the word khasirun, the ending waw noon indicates it's a plural, and the waw noon also indicates that it's in the state of rafa. So أولئك هم الخاسرون, those are the losers. So we see the losers, al-khasirun, here plays the role of the subject in this statement. Whereas when we see this other example where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says وَتَكُونَ مِنَ الظَّالِمِينَ, we see unlike khasirun, ظالمين is not in the state of rafa. It is not ظالمون, but rather it is in the state of jar, or it could be jar or nasab, ظالمين. And to differentiate whether it's in the state of rafa or nasab, we have to look at the context, we have to look at the sentence. And in the sentence we see that al-zalimin is coming after the harf jar min. Therefore, the default word zalimun, which is in the state of rafa, has become zalimin because of the presence of the harf jar. Therefore, we will say min al-zalimin. And another example where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says وَأَنْتُمْ ظَالِمُونَ. So you all are those who do wrong. So here it's in the state, because of the presence of vav noon, we know it is in the state of rafa. Another example where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says كُلُوا وَاشْرَبُوا مِنْ رِزْقِ اللَّهِ. So we see that min rizqi. So first we notice the harf jar min, because of which the word rizq is getting a kasra and becomes in the state of jar. So we say mir rizqi. And we see rizqillahi, the word provision of Allah, provision of Allah. Allah is the owner of the provision. The provision is from Allah. Allah owns the provision, and provision is something that is belonging to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we see rizq here is the mudaf, whereas Allah is the mudaf ilay. So we see here the rizq is getting the kasra because of the min, the harf jar before it, and the mudaf ilay, Allah, is getting the kasra because He is the mudaf ilay, as mentioned before. But previously we saw in the example of الَّذِينَ يَنْقُضُونَ عَهْدَ اللَّهِ, the ahd, the mudaf was in the state of nasab, and we saw that it was because of the fact that it was playing the role of an object. Whereas in this particular example, the mudaf, the rizq, is having a kasra because of the presence of a harf jar. So as explained previously, these two examples makes it very evident to us that the mudaf, the sign, the i'rab of the mudaf can vary depending on the context. Whereas the mudaf ilay in both cases in this example is Allah, always maintains its state of majroor. And this particular verse goes on to say, min rizqillah wala ta'thaw fil ardi. So we see again al-ard is getting a kasra because of the presence of fi. Now let's look at another example where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إنها بقرة صفراء فاقع لونها تسر الناظرين. So الناظرين we see here is in the state of, it's not الناظرون, but rather it is in the state of either nasab or jar because of the presence of yanun. So if we were to look at the context to see why is it in the state of either nasab or jar and not majroor, we see that in this particular ayah, we see because an-nazirin, the onlookers, those who look, are not the subject of this particular sentence, and therefore it cannot exist in the state of rafa. If you were to look at another example, then we can look at ayah number 81 of Surah Baqarah, where we find hum fiha khalidun. So if we see here, khalidun is in the state of rafa because those who stay eternally, they are the subject of this particular sentence. And in another ayah we see where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says فَلَعْنَةُ اللَّهِ عَلَى الْكَافِرِينَ. So we see that al-kafirin is in a state of jar because of the presence of the harf jar ala. So it is not al-kafirun, rather it is al-kafirin. Likewise, when we study the Quran, we can come across a lot of examples when it comes to the state of rafa, when it comes to the state of nasab and jar. So it is important next time we recite the Quran, we even do some analysis grammatically and to see if we are able to identify these different types of states and to figure out as to what is the element that makes it into the state of rafa, nasab or jar. With this, inshallah, we will conclude today's class. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.